Welcome to Blue Collar Startup, the podcast where we dive into real stories of everyday entrepreneurs and trade workers who are turning their blue-collar dreams into reality. Whether you're a student exploring the trades, growing your business, or just love hands-on work, this is the podcast for you. With a nationwide skilled labor shortage, we're here to explore the challenges, triumphs, and lessons learned from those who have built successful businesses from the ground up through integrity, grit, and hard work. From plumbing to carpentry, auto repair to landscaping, we cover it all. Get inspired, gain practical tips, and take the next step in your journey. So grab your tools, roll up your sleeves, and let's get to work.
What's up, D-Rock?
Sun's shining. We got a heat wave going on.
Oh, my God.
Upstate New York. Now we're back to the cold.
I went for a run on Tuesday. No shirt, no shoes.
And then
70 degrees.
And then back to this.
And then, yeah.
Mm-hmm. No.
And you probably don't even have snow at your house at this point.
No, it's gone. I can't believe
that
the snowbanks.
We'll be the last place on planet that's got freaking snow. I don't know what it is.
We took our yard tractor and I got a bucket on the front of it and we built a snowman that was probably about 8 feet high in the front yard. So a little bit of that is still sticking up. And, I was saying to Isla yesterday, I'm like, look, still holding on strong. There's a little pile left.
Yeah. Not going away.
Yeah.
Well, let's introduce our guests. Or moreover, we're going to have you introduce yourself. But we're very excited about our guests. They're coming on board as a sponsor, which we're super grateful for.
Yeah,
very appreciative. And for the record, anyone listening, he's not here because of the sponsorship. He was already coming on the show. We don't make people pay to play. But he was also kind enough to convince his company to pony up some cash. And we're super grateful to help offset some of the costs and give some money back to some folks in the community here. So do us a favor, introduce yourself to who you are and where you're from.
Well, I say we're super thankful to, be able to sponsor this event.
Yeah.
It's a great place, and I think more effort needs to be put into the blue and gray collar area.
Absolutely.
So, but to introduce myself, I'm Nick Schkrioba. I am a sales consultant with Peoplease. Peoplease is a professional employer organization, or PEO for short. We specialize in working with blue and gray collar industries. So companies with high risk work comp mods and work comp class codes, we can find a place for them, and typically we're able to save them money. I'll kind of stop there with the intro, and we'll dive in deeper over what we do as a PEO.
Nice. Yeah, we'll get into the PEO stuff about why that's important, what it does, and how it can help people. Do me a favor real quick too, Nick. Just bring that mic just a little closer to you. Yeah, it's the Joe Rogan rules. If it's a fist distance away from your mouth, I always tell people if you just basically eat the microphone, then you'll sound nice and clear.
Nice and clear. Okay.
Yeah, and I'll play around with some volumes and stuff too. So just to make sure people can hear the important messages you have today. So let's talk about first. Let's just get into how did you end up at Peoplease? What did you do before?
Yeah, so I've been in this industry for about 8 years. I originally got my start with a different PEO down in Florida, more focused on technology companies, professional services, so more white collar business. I took a promotion up for them, moved me into Philadelphia. So I was in Pennsylvania for a couple of years. They ended up closing that office, so then I got into outsourced IT.
Oh, yeah.
And I took outsourced IT back here this is where I grew up. From there, I worked there for a couple of years. Found a local PEO here and worked with them for a couple of years before I moved over to Peoplease. So in April 1st, it would be almost a year
nice.
with Peoplease. Yeah.
Congratulations. 1 year anniversary.
Have you been in sales most of your career?
Yeah, my entire career has been dedicated to B2B sales. Kind of started off at Enterprise, even though that's not necessarily
Rent-A-Car?
At Enterprise.
Oh, you're an Enterprise guy, huh?
Yep. Moved up the ranks there. And my best friend reached out to me. He was working for a commercial insurance company. Took the phone call, ended up moving there. That brought me to Boston.
Yeah.
And then moved to Florida from there. So yeah, it's all been B2B.
I got to tell you, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, if I see that on someone's resume, you're automatically getting moved to the top of the stack. Not even kidding you. They've got such great training programs as far as customer service and just how to be processed and all the things that they do. I've always been super impressed with that organization and the people that come out of it, for that matter. Unofficial shout out here to Enterprise.
The crash course in your MBA is really what it breaks down to.
Yeah, so. Yeah, they're an incredible organization. Mm-hmm. They used to throw really good parties too. I dated a girl that worked for Enterprise. That's how I know about the company, and they like Christmas parties and all sorts of stuff. It was crazy. Some of the like best employer parties I've ever been to were enterprise parties. So I don't know if they still do that or not. That was like a long time ago.
They did, and no, they did until like the crash of 2008.
Yeah.
And then we kind of
pulled back on that.
Dial it back a little bit. So
they were wild, man. It was
always a great time.
Yeah. And as far as sales, I just got to say too, and I'm pretty sure Derek agrees with this. One of my favorite things. I love sales.
Yeah, I agree. It's fun just getting to meet new people and interact and solve problems.
That's when I talk to people about it, I'm like, you literally get paid to like go have coffee with people and get to know them and then figure out if you can help them in some fashion. It's an amazing thing.
And then not only that too, it's every business sells something. I don't care if you're a nonprofit or you're a government agency, you're selling something. Yeah. Every business, that's why we have a capitalist economy, right? Because everybody's selling something.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, for most organizations, if you don't have solid sales at the front side of what you're doing, like you don't have clients. Yep. So awesome. So let's talk about some of the services you guys. So we talked about, maybe we should jump right into the professional employment. What does POE stand for again?
PEO.
PEO.
Professional Employer Organization.
That's it. Organization. Yep. That's the O. So what does that do? I don't think a lot of people are aware.
It's new to me.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. That's part of the reason I jumped on podcasts as well too.
Yeah.
It's just that educational piece to it too. I've found that it's common. Mm-hmm. So there's 4 key pieces that every PEO or most PEOs out there are going to help with a business. It's going to be your risk and compliance. It's going to be workers' comp. It's going to be benefits, and it's going to be your payroll. What it does is it allows you to centralize all those into one area. Typically, you're going to have a support team that's dedicated to your account. So if you have any issues pertaining to your employees, you'll have a outlet to go to. So not only does it alleviate that HR burden or HR task that you may have, it just gives you more time back. And most of the time, because of the way PEOs work, and we'll get into that soon, you're able to get you things at a less of a cost than you were out on the open market or doing it as a 50-person business.
Because you're essentially, if I have it correct, PEOs basically pool all the employees. So while they are the employee of the organization, they're almost technically your employee. Like you pool in for workers' comp and disability. So it's so the rates and everything that you're getting is based on this huge pool of people as opposed to 3 employees or 8 employees. Is that close?
Close, very close. Yeah. So it is. So the way PEOs or most PEOs act now, it's more of a co-employment model. So for the purposes of taxes and benefits and comp, we're seen as a large employer, right? So just with any business, your big employee or big buyers from you, right? Their rate increases are going to be less. Your initial pricing is going to be less because you don't want to take a 30% increase on a person who's bringing in $1 million. I'm throwing arbitrary numbers out there, but who's bringing in $1 million worth of revenue. But you'd be okay taking a 40% increase on somebody who's maybe bringing you $10,000 in. So that's part of the beauty of a PEO because you have that large network of worksite employees that you're not going to see those increases like you would on as a smaller business. But yeah, co-employment model. I think that's
co-employment. That's the word.
Yeah. So the business owners still have full control over their employees. They're hiring and they're firing all their, the actions they want to take within the confines of laws. Right? Yeah. You can't just be going willy-nilly and firing
willy-nilly.
You have to. There's some rules and regulations, but that's the awesome part is that you have every majority of the PEOs. I can't say everyone. You have an HR person to talk to help you with that, help you write job posts, and it's part of Peoplease's services too. Best practice around hiring and firing. Hey, we operate in all 50 states. So if you're let's just say you're a construction company, but there's an architect that really does a great job drawing up drafts, but they're in Maine. Well, you can still hire that person, have them work virtually, and your work comp coverage will carry them in Maine, and whatever Maine requires for employment relations and what's expected of employees or what employers should expect of the employees, we take care of that. So you get a handbook that's particular to Maine and Maine's laws and rules and regulations. So it not only enhances your geographical reach. Same thing with a construction company if they want to land a job in Pennsylvania. They've been just doing it in New York, but they want to land one in Pennsylvania. You don't necessarily have to go and register in Pennsylvania to be a business because we're already registered there.
Yeah.
So you come and do that, and you can go into Pennsylvania. Your workers' comp coverage covers you instead of calling up your agent and broker and saying, hey, I need to add this endorsement for Pennsylvania onto my account. We just landed this big job.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That like going to markets easier than you might normally go into them.
Right. And it opens up that job pool or talent pool for you as well, too.
Yeah.
So if I can now have somebody that there is a role that it can be a remote role, I have that talent pool not just confined to my region, but I have the entire country I can look at.
Interesting.
Are there specific industries that you look to work with or any that you don't work with?
Yeah, so our three main industries are transportation, construction, and staffing.
Okay.
But there's so many intricacies within there. So if you think of anything blue-gray, so I always get this question. Actually, Mike asked me when we had our phone conversation, what is gray? So gray collar, so what we consider gray collar is going to be your skilled laborers, so HVAC, your electricians. It's also going to be nursing. So we do like retirement homes and assisted living facilities. There's really nothing that we can't do as far as businesses outside of a height exposure, right? Where you don't do residential roofing for comp just because of the pitch. If it's commercial and you only have 10% of residential, we'll certainly look at you. And again, I'll remind everybody it comes down to payroll and number of employees. There's exceptions to the rules.
Pitch on the roof, huh?
Pitch, yeah, they don't like the pitch. Those
Nah,
commercial ones have the
I don't
flat.
like the pitch either. That's why you don't find me up on a roof.
Yeah. I've done it. It's not fun.
Yeah, man. It's
Sore ankles at the end of the day.
and you're
Yes.
and it's so hot.
Make sure you have a good pair of shoes that has a good sole, so you make sure you're gripping that.
Sneakers.
Well. Sneakers.
Used to always wear rubber sole. Yeah. Basketball shoes were the best.
Yep.
I actually fell off my roof on my garage 2 years ago trying to replace a panel. Oh man,
Jeez.
just lost footings. Metal roof, man. It's got that pitch, right? So I'm just sliding down. Luckily, it has like a little room that's on part of the garage that like has more of almost a flat roof.
Yep.
So I hit that thing, but I hit that thing freaking hard, man. I was moving. Yeah, I was bruised up pretty good from that.
Yeah, I did that with a loop. I was blowing out the gutters, and I got too close. I was like, "Oh, I better pay attention."
Yeah.
So I'm up there, just doing my chores, right?
Fun stuff. Especially we got these standing seam metal roofs, man. Those things are like, as soon as they're wet, they are freaking. It's an ice rink.
Yep.
So fun. So, one question I had for you while you were talking about the PEO stuff, and I don't know why I want to keep calling it POE. You'll do the actual hiring and firing?
We'll give you best practices.
Give us best practices.
Unless you said, "Hey, can you guys have that conversation?" We can have that, but we kind of leave that up to the business owner.
Yeah.
We can be as involved as you want us to be, or hands off. But again, it's as the co-employment model. It's our responsibility to make sure that you stay compliant as well too. So we got to make sure that there is things adhered to. Right, there's got to be certain language in an employee handbook. So that's another piece of our service is like we will review what you currently have, add anything that needs to be added. Last year there was 12 law changes in New York State alone for employees. You guys both know your business,
That's it.
right?
Yeah, it's
How are you going to keep up on that, right?
it's crazy. Or and they also the other thing that New York State loves to do too is tell you that something's coming down the pike. Like, hey, we're gonna start it, and then they keep pushing back the start date. So you're like, wait, am I supposed to be doing this or not, man? Like, it's amazing. I'm sure that's not relegated to just New York State. I'm sure California does it too.
Oh yeah, we're kind of like California's.
California.
California's cousin, right? Like if we're doing something, we got to do it, right?
Yeah.
And that's, a lot of regulations, a lot of red tape.
Firing is the worst part of the job. I freaking hate it, man.
Yeah.
It is absolutely awful. The conversation, the whole thing, and then the stress. I always stress out afterwards that I did something wrong, and that employee is going to come back and sue me or what. You know what I mean? Like it's just God, it's awful. That's one of the worst parts of owning a business, I think.
Since you just touched on that too, we offer EPLI as well too, which is Employee Practices Liability Insurance.
Oh, okay.
So that protects you against any of if a lawsuit for discrimination or harassment or hiring or not hiring them because of something.
I actually had that happen to a friend of mine in the local business community where he actually put an ad out, and because of some of the language in the ad, someone sued him, and they got him for like $25,000.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, what? And knowing the guy, first of all, like, what? Like, he's an amazing human. And the second part is, like, if you saw the verbiage in the ad, it was like, really? Like, you had to pay money because of that?
There's people out there that will intentionally look for that stuff, you know?
Exactly.
They're out there.
They're out, yeah. It's unfortunate.
They certainly are.
But a good argument for what you do.
Yeah. Imagine having that peace of mind in the day as a business owner. I just get to run my business and grow it and, do my thing. And I know I'm taken care of.
I mean, don't worry about that.
We're taking care of all the tax remittance. You don't have to worry about your taxes, and then on the workers' comp side, it's pay as you go workers' comp, especially our area, right? We have so many seasonal businesses, right? You can think of landscapers, construction. You can keep naming them, right? Even cleaners as well, too, as you pick up a large job. Yeah. Say in the beginning of the year, I had 15 employees, so I based my payroll with my comp carrier off 15 employees, paying $100,000 in it, right? Well, you just landed a big job, so I got to hire 5 more. That's another, say $25,000. Well, that $25,000, the insurance company's going to want their money on that, too. So when you do an audit at the end of the year, you're going to give the insurance company money, right? And they're saying, hey, you got 30 days to pay us. Well, do you know what happens if an insurance company owes you money?
They keep it.
They will. I've been in this position, so they drag their feet as long as they can.
Yep. Or they will be
100%.
I'll credit you on your next policy. So you already knocked that off. But then you run into that same issue, right? Because if you don't have that thing. So ours is pay as you go, and there's no audit because you're paying as you go. So it allows for more cash flow instead of writing a $2,000 check or whatever the case may be. At the beginning of the month to pay your workers' comp, you're just paying it as you pay your employees. You can add employees. You don't have to worry about that audit at the end of the year.
Yeah. I actually remember the first time I had employees and I was setting up payroll for the first time and I was using my accountant because they did payroll and they did not have any sort of systems in place. So it was like old school payroll. So then all of a sudden he's like, you just got to write this check to workers' comp. And it was thousands of dollars that I did not have. I was like, time out, bro. Like, I was like, this is what payroll is all about. Like, I can't even move forward right now. And at that point, I was already so deep into the process, and I'm like, scared the shit out of me. And then I learned about pay as you go. What a magical thing that is.
Right. Well, I mean, contractors, they land a big job, and it's great, But then, let me stop and think to adjust my comp estimate. It doesn't happen because you're scrambling to get it done. And, that's happened to us before. And it's like, you got to come up with it.
Yep. I just landed this new contract. I want to get started, right? Probably one of the promises was like, hey, I can start next week.
Yeah. Start Monday.
Yeah. Right. Are you going to call like, hey, you got to add another $100,000?
That's right.
No, absolutely not. Right. Because you're worried about getting that job and you're looking at, okay, what's my bottom line? What does this add to my bottom line? Right. Those types of things. And as you should, as a business owner, right? We're all for-profit companies, and that's what we're looking to drive.
Yeah, we're in to make money. Everybody's here to make money. That's what keeps the bus moving, man.
Exactly.
It's the gas in the tank.
Exactly.
What you've been in this industry for 8 years. You said. What do you think? If you're allowed to tell me, what do you think the craziest workers' comp story is that you've seen? If you can tell me, I don't want to put any pressure on you.
Oh yeah, so this actually just came in. So this guy was actually on video. So he filed a workers' comp claim, saying that one of the machines that he was working at lopped his fingers off.
Oh.
Okay. What they found, they pulled the video. He actually laid on his back, reached his hand up there, and let the machine take his fingers off so he could get cut.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Talk about sacrifice.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You got to really not want to ever work again to do that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then now that claim gets denied because that's his error.
Yeah, if it's caught on video.
If it's caught on video.
Sure.
So he did that. That's purposely done. So now he's missing tips of 4 of his fingers.
I'm clenching my fist.
So, but that brings up a good point too. So as a business owner or somebody thinking about that entering into the space, so clearly video is a good way to prevent those issues from happening and then being. But what are some of the other preventative measures that business owners can take to avoid some of those claims?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So with Peoplease, you have a service team or a support team of about 5 people. One of them is a risk and safety control advisor. So they're going to meet with you, and in the first day you say, hey, Nick, we're signing on. He's going to meet with you in the first day. He's going to walk through your facility and whatever, and point out anything that may be a violation of whether it's OSHA, state, or local laws or federal laws. Hey, we've got to clean this up. He's going to look at your loss runs. Okay, hey, it looks like you guys continue to have a lot of slip and falls. So let's put in some of these safety procedures and policies, and they give you safety trainings to do so you can keep them up. Because you can always have that in your, that feather in your hat as a business owner that, hey, these guys have taken all these trainings. They have done all this safety practices, important stuff. They have all these certificates. And it could be, you can fight that better than if you say, hey, we just kind of let them do whatever they do whatever they want. There's really no policies, procedures. They know, hey, don't put your hand here because that will take your fingers off or that will hurt you.
Don't lay on your back and put your hand up here.
Unbelievable.
It's wild. And one of my colleagues on my team, actually, she's been with the company for like 20 some odd years, and she worked in the comp department previous to handling all the claims, and she's got even better stories.
We got to get her on.
Yeah, and I know the one, but I can't say it. I don't think it's appropriate. But yeah, so there's a lot of work we do, and then that loss control advisor is going to meet with you on a quarterly basis as well too, and review any claims that happen. So one of the best examples I like to use is, let's just say you're in a machine shop, you have an old 40, 50-year-old lathe, but that thing works and it works great. But you know what? Everybody keeps getting hurt on it. So they're going to say, hey, maybe put some of these safety measures around the machine and, let's see how that works. And well, the claims went down a little bit, but they're still at a rate where you don't want it to be. All right, maybe we have to replace that machine. They'll make those kind of suggestions for you. And if you can't replace the machine, you don't have to, right? They're just, again, you have still complete control of your operations of your business. We're just advisors and to try to help make sure, you don't have the same claims over and over again. And then we handle the claims as well too. So we have a claims analyst that works to treat the injury, and our whole purpose is to get that person back to work as fast as possible. And then in the industries that we work in, there's not many of the industries have like light duty. We do. So we have a return to work program. So if they can't necessarily do light duty at their current job, we partner with some nonprofits like Salvation Army and Goodwill. We'll have them sit there and check people out when they go there, which helps keep the cost of your comp claim down, because Salvation Army, Goodwill, whoever is paying them whatever their rate is for that day. And then the insurance company, or basically the company that you work for, is only responsible for the difference. So it keeps that claim down for you as well too. And if you think anybody's abusing workers' comp, you simply raise your hand. We'll initiate the investigation. We have a 24/7, 365 nurse triage number. So if somebody were to get hurt, you'd call that number. They're going to tell you how to treat that injury. It could be, if it's something as easy as like, oh, it's a paper cut. Okay, just put some Neosporin and a Band-Aid on it. You're good. If it's something more, they'll be like, hey, this is the closest urgent care. Get them over to urgent care. And that actually starts that claims process for you. And then we do the follow-up with the doctors. Obviously, in the beginning, there's going to be some questions, right? There's going to be paperwork that the claims analyst will fill out. How did it happen? Interviewing both the business and the employee who got injured. But again, we want to get them back to work as fast as possible, make sure that we're paying and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to as an employee out on comp, making sure they're going to their physical therapy, all that kind of stuff.
Keeping everybody honest.
Yep. And we'll, make sure that they're taken care of.
Yeah. It's funny. I don't know if you guys have seen this video, but I literally just saw this video of this older guy at like a fast food counter, and he literally walks up, and it's on camera, and he walks up to the ice machine, grabs one of their cups, fills it with ice, looks around, dumps it on the floor, walks 5 feet away, and then walks back and pretends it's the worst slip and fall pretend you've ever seen, right? Like, he basically sits down and then he's on the ground. Oh, I fell in the ice. The slippery tried it, and it's like the whole thing's on camera. That just made me think of it, like just the keeping people honest, because people just do some crazy things trying.
There's a lot of people out there. So as you start growing your business, you both can speak to it too, right? Eventually you get to a point where you get to hire outside your friends and family. So the people that you actually trust. right? So
Yeah.
you got to have
hiring strangers.
Yep, you have to have that great hiring process, right? So your interview questions have to be tailored to making sure you're getting out of that person what you're expecting, right? To answer the questions and stuff. And that's all. We can help you out with all that stuff, and then to keep them, keep them on payroll as well too. That's the whole point, right? Most companies grow to continue to grow.
Yeah. Shrinking down sucks.
So you guys are all 50 states you service currently?
Yes, in all 50
Okay. Where is the biggest population of your clients now? Are you on the East Coast mainly? Are you what would you say that?
So for me personally, we were probably California and Florida. There's a reason for that too. So the birth of PEO industry was based in Florida.
Oh, no kidding.
So so that's where you're going to see a higher density.
I was going to ask like how this all came. Like
yeah.
it's always amazing to me how service offerings come into existence, right? Like
So I mean, I'm sure it was something similar. Like, why can't I just do all that with you? You just told us your story about starting off just doing the consulting, and then you had one of your clients say, "Hey, I want you to do all that stuff you just told me to hire somebody else to do." I guarantee that's what happened. You probably had a insurance broker or a HR consultant, and he's like, "Well, I know this guy from this insurance company, so I'll get my comp through here. I'm an HR consultant, so I can handle all the HR stuff, and then payroll. Oh, there's back in the early 1980, 79, 1980, 81 is kind of where at birth we've been.
It's been around that long. No kidding.
Yeah, we've been in the field since 85. Our oldest entity that became Peoplease, 85, and all they focused on was W-2 truckers and warehousing.
And with a name like Peoplease, which is very modern and sleek, I would imagine you guys got some cool technology going.
We do, yeah. So even our payroll software, it's a Prism HR. I don't know. People who are in the industry will know what that means, but it's a great feature. But we have on your phone app, so a mobile app.
Nice.
It would give the employees a lot of autonomy. So another way to drive away people going to the HR office just to say, hey, I changed my address. So, okay, Bob, I got to go in to see Bill because I changed my address. So I got to fill out this form. And then I have to give it to Bob, and Bob's going to send it on to our payroll company so that adjusts to my W-2 and my paychecks. Well, they can do it online by themselves, no issue. If they have issues, we have an employee solution center that's manned 8 to 8 Eastern time that they can call and ask about. Same thing with if you have a life-changing event. I got a kid. I need to change my tax withholdings. I need to change my benefits. Now I got to add my child to my plan. Give them the ability to do that without having to pull in another set of eyes, and that change happens almost instantaneously, maybe 24 hours at most.
Yeah.
And they can check pay stubs, W-2s. Everybody who's gotten a W-2 knows that the electronic copies you get a lot faster than you do the paper copies, right? So they can pull all that PTO track, all that good stuff.
Do you guys have like a clock in, clock out feature kind of thing that you do?
We do. We partner with a company for that. We clock in, clock out. We can job cost, so we can put everybody on a bunch of different codes, up to 40 different codes in one day. If they're, let's say they're a mason at this job there and they're a sheetrocker at that job, they'll have a different code and workers' comp code as well too.
Interesting. That's obviously a loaded question on my part. 'Cause we're just launching a piece of software we developed. It's a time track. Well, no, I can't say that. I keep saying that, and that's the wrong way to describe it. But it's a business intelligence software that it starts with how you enter time, punching in, punching out, so to speak. But then it takes the information from that, and it gives you intelligence on your business about what's happening, what's costing you, who's profitable, who's not. Like tons of great information. But I'm got my mind my wheels moving, trying to looking for people that we can partner with. Like that, one of the things that we're trying to do is integrate with large payroll organizations that can help us get our usership up fast. So that's why
that would be Prism HR would be at about 60% of the PEOs and payroll companies out there use it.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's one of the main ones. There's obviously the big players in the game like Paychex and ADP, right? They've been around forever, right? They have their own software.
Yeah.
And then some borrow other people's software and kind of build their own UI on it. But yeah, where's Prism HR is that'd be your best go at to get the most.
Yeah. I just had another question too, but I lost it. God, this sucks getting old. The mind's the first thing to go, they say.
I was going to ask Nick on the sales side, like what's your typical routine look like, on a week-to-week basis? And, how do you go about, searching for and looking for people to help?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Peoplease is unique in the fact that 91% of our business comes from referrals. So we partner with, whether it be P&C brokers, PEO brokers, benefits brokers, or CPAs, anybody who touches that HR function or can talk to a business owner. They will typically either give me an introduction to that client, and then I'll take it from there, and they can be hands off, or they could be, if it's a P&C broker, benefits, that could be their client, and they're just looking to find them a better rate, as a broker is supposed to do, right? Every year you're supposed to find your clients the best rate and hopefully save them some money on what they're doing. So they'll send it to me, and then once everything gets together, that's the cool thing about us. Our processes, our quoting process, if I have a complete submission, we can turn those around sometimes within like 2 hours, but no more than 48 on that. And that would be like a staffing company, because there's a lot of intricacies with a staffing company. So we get them out real quick. And then then that business owner or decision maker or whoever they're dealing with can review those prices, and they say, hey, Nick, it looks good. Then I'll have that meeting with those and kind of pitch my product. I can sell mine better than, like say P&C, right? Because they're just using insurance. So I'd rather talk to PEO, Peoplease PEO and their benefits versus having somebody else do it.
Someone else try to sell it for you, yeah.
Right. It never always gets lost in translation, right? It's a telephone game, isn't it? Right?
Yes, sir. A lot of communication. What, how many, this is what I was going to ask you before. How many people do you think as an organization you have in your PEO program?
Yes, we have over 75,000 worksite employees.
Wow.
That's across about 3,000 clients nationwide.
Wow. That's a big number.
Wow.
Oh, you guys must have some great systems and processes in place, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people to keep track of.
And we got a 92% retention rate. Average client staying with us for 8 years. So
of your clients or their employees?
Of our clients.
Of your clients.
Yeah, our clients stay with us for 8 years. So their team's outstanding. I can't speak highly. My first deal I closed here was a local contractor. He's been doing 1099s his whole career, but he wanted to get a state bid. So he had to have workers' comp. So he brought one onto payroll, brought him on there, sat through the introductory meeting, the welcome call, because we'll always do a welcome call so you can meet some of your teammates, and listening to each functionality, especially the safety and risk, advisor of what we do. I'm like, wow. Even the previous PEO, which was, the one I started at, I thought the way they handle their clients and those kind of calls are a lot better, because that one was like, hey, all right, sales guy, you did your job, you're out. Obviously, as a salesperson, my whole career, I've always given them my personal cell, right? Yeah. You got anything, come to me. If you're having issues, you're not getting the answers you want, come to me.
Yeah, you want your customers to be happy.
I know who their bosses are, right? I can go up the chain for you quicker. So, that's how it works. It's all they've been fantastic. Can't speak highly enough. I got them.
8 years. I'm trying to think of what
That's a good retention rate.
I think it's a great retention rate. I'm thinking about the last 10 years of business and what our retention rate is, and I think we're pretty good most of the time, and we suck sometimes. But I'm like, wow, 8 years. I mean, I got a couple clients that have been with us for 8 years, but I don't think that that's the average. And maybe it's an industry thing.
How long has the company been around for?
35 years.
Yeah, you said 85 you launched?
Yeah, our oldest entity. 85, then Peoplease was 87. A couple years later, they were competitors for a while. And then at one point that entity was going to buy us, and then Peoplease end up getting them. But we're all a big happy family now. But those guys are amazing. That kind of came from that transportation.
Yeah. And so you're working with companies with just an employee, like that? You'll go down that small?
Yeah.
That was one of the things I was going to ask was that, what is it? What's the minimum? So one employee. One
employee, one W-2 employee. You pay them and you're good. Some states require the owner be on payroll as well if they, but it's up to Obviously the state dictates that, but you pay yourself. If you're an owner, you have to be on payroll and take the comp. You pay yourself minimum wage, whatever whatever the minimum wage rate is, and you're protected by workers' comp. Wouldn't you rather not have to dip into your own money in case you were to get hurt? Let's have the insurance company pay me the 60% that I'm owed as a minimum wage, and then it's a little bit of cash, right?
Yeah. Sorry about the fireplace in the background, guys. Blower just came on.
That's all right.
I think that happened last episode.
It's
too.
hotter than Hades in here already. I got that thing cranked up.
That was a cool piece that we had to kind of touch on when we go, just walking back to that workers' comp too,
Yeah.
is that some of your contracts that you have with, whether it be private or public entities, you're required to have a work comp mod underneath a certain number. Mm-hmm. You have one big loss that's going to put you over that number, so that leaves you susceptible to losing that contract, or you will lose that contract because there's probably 6 people in line who want that contract. Well, you come to Peoplease, you get our workers' comp mod, which is way under 1.
Yeah.
And you can continue to keep that contract and work until you can work your mod rate back down. Because they usually linger for about 5 years claims or so.
So for a small business owner, if you were to give somebody advice who may be just starting out or been in business for a while, what is the number one thing that they should look at when it comes to finding the right partner for insurance or payroll or HR? What would your advice be?
I would say look at multiples. Because there's the older way of doing things, right? It's not broke, don't fix it, and you may have learned that from a company that's been around for some years, right? So everything is brokered out or partnered out, right? So I have somebody for payroll, I have somebody for comp, I have my bookkeeper who does my payroll, and I have my benefits broker, and then I have I hired HR consulting. Well, you want to get multiple opinions on what you're doing, because if you can consolidate that all into one, and I'm going to continue to talk the praises of PEO just because I've watched companies blow out their 5-year plan by adding in a PEO prior to the 5 years. Just take out multiple and be open to those conversations, I would say, because listen, I'm a sales guy, so I've made the phone calls, I've sent the emails, I've gone door to door, and I've talked to them like, oh no, we're not interested. Well, this is something different than what you've seen, in this area in particular. I grew up in here, so I kind of, I know a lot of people, so I know how businesses are running and how it's pieced out, but being able to, not to toot my own horn, but I got to travel. I got to leave the area for a while. Like I said, I worked in Florida. I was calling into Nevada and selling into Nevada, and then to Indiana, Central New York, and Boston. All those locations of there's better stuff. There's things that can help you more. Is PEO right for everybody? No. Now you got 5,000 employees. No, you're better off handling that internally, because the cost is going to be. You figure 5,000 employees, you're few $100,000 in payroll, or a few $100 million in payroll. Yeah. Right. So that could be not worth it, but sometimes
a big chunk of change. Yeah.
Sometimes it is though. You're that $5,000 employer, but I'm about to lose that contract that I just landed with Chevron or Stewart's, right? Yeah. I should jump into this, at least give it a year or two and get my mod back down, and then I can continue to keep that contract on my own.
It's funny because you were talking about being local, so you're within throwing distance from the farm here. How did that even come up in our conversation? Because I don't even remember how we got connected. Did you send me an email?
Yeah. So I shot you over an email and said it, and I was like, I'm local here to Corinth, because I still have my Florida phone number. So when I call on everything, Florida. Yeah. So I was local here to Corinth, and then you and I got into the conversation of, oh, well, I know I live with a guy from Corinth, and then Brian Baker.
Shout out to Brian Baker.
Somehow related. He's related to my cousin Nate.
Yeah. It's so funny. And how did you find out about the podcast?
I actually saw it on LinkedIn.
Oh, nice.
So I saw the Glens Falls business.
Oh, my media team doing their job. Nice job, everybody.
Yes, I know. I was like,
social media does work.
I guess apparently.
Yeah. I was like, that's where I need to be.
Okay, yeah. I couldn't remember how that all came into place. I was trying to remember it earlier. Again, the mind's the first thing we go over. And your knees.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And your lower back.
Yeah.
And your neck. And your eyesight. It's terrible getting old. I know that we got to be getting close on time, but one of the things I want to ask you is, and we touched a lot about the PEO and what about, you said benefits, like you guys also do other stuff as well, so help us understand that a little bit.
Yeah, so there's a master medical plan, which is a nationwide coverage. We use Aetna. So you can join into that and you get those Fortune 500 level benefits. So what's really cool about that is we know this area, right? There's the big two players in medical are MVP and CDPHP, right? And the great coverage, but those are HMO plans. So you can only go into in-network. So if you're on vacation, you're going to be footing the bill for out-of-network unless they have a out-of-network, some sort of coverage. My wife works for the state, so we get CDPHP.
Yeah.
But this with Aetna is you can, and Aetna is I believe the largest medical provider or group medical provider.
Oh, no,
it's either them or United Healthcare. But so the network's huge that you could think about. And then on top of that, obviously we have dental, we have vision, and then there's tons of like ancillary products that we can offer so an employee can buy into. So like pet insurance, it's actually taken off.
I keep hearing about pet insurance.
Interesting.
Legit, that keeps coming up. But Benson's Pet Center locally is one of our advertisers, and coincidentally is connected to one of our team members. But they talked about it, and someone else one of the insurance people in one of my networking groups was talking about pet insurance. It's like a huge offering.
What does that cover? Medical?
See, medical.
There's pet bills?
Different types of packages, so some will, if you get a puppy, you can get it, and then they'll cover your spay and neutering. It's like $23.
It's health insurance for your dog or your cat, or I wonder if they cover sheep and pigs.
Yeah, you never know.
I'll get you that answer.
Give me that.
There you go.
I'll pull it up and I'll reach out.
There you go.
But there's
I get pet insurance on my farm animals.
That's interesting. Well, you would imagine, big farms have to have some sort of insurance on.
I don't know about big,
animals.
I don't know about.
I don't know.
Maybe big farms do. I mean, little farms like us, like we've got a dozen pigs and a dozen other animals out there running around. But it's like, I mean, at least 4 or 5 times a year, man, I'm deworming. I'm calling the vet out here for an issue I can't figure out using the old Google machine. Like, it's tough.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a bunch of other ones too. Legal identity protection. There's gap insurance. There's long-term, short-term. I mean, there's a marketplace that gives you discounted like tickets to like Disney World or travel and all that kind of stuff. And it's all like that part's like free, like that marketplace, because employees can buy. But it's a huge piece to help companies attract and retain top talent, right? You have a lot of companies will do, hey, you can get medical, dental, vision, and we'll do a 401k. If you say, hey, I'm going to do medical, dental, vision, you have access to $400,000 of guaranteed life. That's no underwriting, right? You have pet insurance, you have EAP, you have legal insurance or legal coverage, all this stuff that you can buy into and make your life a lot easier. Just to say this is what we have. It's a huge package, like 10 pages long of what's available to them, and the employer is not responsible to fund anything towards those ancillary ones. Just on the medical side, if they're a large applicable employer, they got to cover that 50% of the lowest cost plan.
Do you guys get into like the 401k stuff into with employees? Oh, you do?
Yep. So we do Slavic 401k. There's a zero rollover fee. So if you have it somewhere else and you want to roll it over into ours, fund fees are less just because of the pot that we have there, right? So it's bigger. Slavic's making their money off of the fund fees, but because we have, I don't say 70,000 of them all are in there, 75,000, but you probably have 10, 20,000. Employees in there, so they can keep those fees inexpensive.
Interesting. So you guys really do have that whole HR gambit covered as far as that stuff goes, with employee benefits and offerings and payroll and
and how nice would it be just to be like, any of those issues come up, all right, I gotta call my client service manager because I'm not sure, right? So that's the 5, right? I didn't talk about it, but there's a client service manager, you have a payroll specialist, you're going to have the employee solutions center, that loss control admin, and you're going to have a HR specialist as well too. Every account gets those 5.
Nice.
Yeah, and then that's their support team. So even if, let's just say, the payroll person moved out to the West Coast, we'd probably align them with a West Coast company, right? You still have 4 other people who know your business, and then that new payroll specialist. And our payroll specialists average tenure about 6 or 7 years too. So they're not new.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Right. Will we continue to grow? Sure. As we keep growing, right, we need to add those people to, service our clients the way we need to keep that 92% retention ratio. So we'd have to hire new people, but more than likely they're going to have some sort of background in payroll processing.
Yeah. That's what I love about outsource model for a lot of business services, man. You get a whole team of people for, in many cases, less than what an employee would cost you. That's what we talk about all the time with marketing. I'm like, we give you a whole marketing team for less than the cost of an employee. It's with the work getting done. So it's nice. I love outsourcing.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, I bet.
I love outsourcing too.
Well, listen, I we got to get wrapped up. Keep you here all day, but if there was one thing that you're going to tell people listening about Peoplease and what you guys do and why they should use you, what would it be?
Yeah, like I said, just look at a change. Try something different that can help you, because our whole mission and the whole model of our entire industry is to help companies contain costs, right? Reduce and contain costs. So it's not only the year one savings, but it's the year over year savings that you'll have. And just talk to me, and you guys. Well, you don't know me, but I'm not pushy. If I say it's not a good fit, it won't be a good fit, right? I have to say, hey, you got something that looks better, that feels better, use it. But I love just to talk to people and educate them. That's part of the reason I'm jumped on the podcast.
That's awesome.
With you guys as
We're
well.
glad to have you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate the support, you and Peoplease as well, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
We're happy to be here. But like I said, they're looking for that. They're waiting for that logo, the Peoplease as seen on blue collar.
That's it. We'll get it out there, man.
Absolutely.
What if people want to learn more about Peoplease, if they want to get a hold of you, how do they contact you?
Yeah, so our website is peoplease.com. My email address is, it's my last name, so it's going to be tough. So it's N Schkrioba, which is SCHKRIOBA at peoplease.com. Then my cell phone is 941-224-8981.
That's awesome. And I'll make sure Taylor puts it in the show notes too, so that contact info's there. And you were looking around when you were spelling your last name to try to make sure you did some don't spell your own last name wrong, man.
No, I just wanted to, it's going to be a while. I've been doing it my entire life. So.
That's awesome. Funny. Thanks for coming.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
D, thanks for coming all the way up to the farm too. Appreciate it, man. I know it's a little bit of a drive for you.
Yeah, nice ride up the Northway.
Yeah, the beautiful Northway. And I know that it's going to be in the outro, but I just want to thank our sponsors. We've got Bonaccio Construction just came on board as a sponsor. Super grateful. It sounds like Mr. Scott McKenna from Catamount Consulting is going to get us a interview with Sonny, so I'm excited about us getting in front of Sonny and hearing his story. I don't know much about Sonny as a human. Obviously, everyone in the area knows of his company at this point, but I hear he's got a pretty good story about where he came from and growing up or growing his business up the last 30 years, I guess now.
Looking forward to hearing it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Big shout out to MLB Construction. You guys are awesome. Appreciate your support. Michael's group, of course, can't forget about Luke. Thanks so much for your support as well. And now Peoplease coming on board. And of course, we can't forget about Pam and Doug over at Northeast Coalition for Workforce Trades.
Trades Coalition.
I always mess up. I'm so sorry, guys.
Yeah, Northeast Workforce Trades Coalition.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then we had a good conversation today with the Blue Collar College Hudson Valley as well. So we're going to be collaborating with them in the future. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, really appreciate everyone's support, helping us get the podcast out there and helping us give money back to students at BOCES, at HVCC to help them pay for tools, pay for programs, and get more people into the trades. So keep on doing it. If you're listening, share the show, send it to a friend, subscribe. That's one thing we need everybody to do. We got to get our subscribership up. We're doing okay. But we need if you're watching or listening to this on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel, or Apple or Spotify or Rumble, wherever you're listening or watching this. Please make sure you subscribe and even leave a review.
Yeah,
5 stars.
Leave a review. Drop us an email with anything you want to hear on the show.
Yeah, please do, guys. We'd love to hear from our audience. So thanks, everybody, for listening, and you'll hear from us again next week.
And that wraps up another episode of Blue Collar Startup. A big thank you to our sponsors, 5 Towers Media, Daigle Cleaning Systems, Daigle Fire Solutions, the Michaels Group, MLB Construction, Bonaccio Construction, and Catamount Consulting for making this podcast possible. And thank you for tuning in. If you learned something or felt inspired, connect with us on our website at bluecollarstartup.io or email us at hardhat.bcsu@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your questions and topic ideas. Help us spread the word by sharing the show and following us on social media for updates. Until next time, keep on building, keep on dreaming, and keep hustling like your future depends on it.